Hey guys, welcome back. So we're now proceeding on creating the functionality of our multi-step form. And currently I'm displaying the very last component that we have here, and it's a message component. And what I want to do here is to go back in showing you the personal info, since this was the very first step to appear in the application. Okay, so I'm gonna push this right here and show it right here. So as you can see, I'm gonna comment out the message component, and I'm gonna import the personal info and the import right here. So I hit save, and this is the step one of our component. And as you can see, if you remember, we have a store folder here in Vue.JS, and this is where we're going to manage our state, since I wanted to access global state from all of our component. So if we have a multiple component, it's very easy to manage your state compared if you are just using composition API, and you have to handle the local state of your components, and pass it through the props, and that's very hassle to do. So from our store, or from our state management, we're going to focus on two major objects right here, which is the state and the action. So state is basically the one that handles the data from our application. And again, like what I said, this can be globally accessed, whether you have a main component right like this, and or you have a child component. Your state can be accessible to their side. Okay, and also we also need to focus on the actions. So actions are dependent on our state. So if we are changing something here on a state, we have to get that value from our action. Okay, so I'm going to give you a first example of changing the state from on how Vuex works on that, on how we're going to manage the state. Okay, so here from multi-step, the parent component, I'm gonna create an h1, and I'm gonna let's give it a value of current step. So when I hit save, as you can see, the positioning is very weird. So I'm gonna try to customize that for a moment, just for a moment, just to show you the things really well. Okay, so h1, do we have a class? Yep, I forgot. So I'm gonna add a class for this. I'm gonna give it a class of counter, just so we don't affect any components right away. So counter, I'm gonna give it a position absolute, and top will be 0. Okay, so h1 is currently right here at the top, so that's good. So now going back to our store, and here state, when you are creating a state, of course you need to create a, since this is an object, you have to create a key value pair of state. Like for example, I'm gonna create a value called current step, and the value will be 1. So how we're going to display the value of current step 1 in our parent component? So that's the question. So what we can do here is to call in the state by $store dot state dot current step. So hit save, and as you can see, the value of 1 is now appearing on our component. Okay, so what I need to do is to increase the value of this by clicking the next step. Makes sense, right? If you're in the personal info, when I click the next step, you're going to step 2, right? And in step 2, we still have another next step and next step on the step 3 until we reach the step 4 and the message. So let's do that. So going back to personal info, I'm gonna check in the personal info here. So for the personal info, oh, not this one. This one. Okay. So this is where we're going to add the function, or calling the function that will increase the step. But since this is a form, just to give you a demo, I'm gonna change this to type button, just so the form recognizes this as a regular button, not included on the form. Okay, so what I need to do, what we need to do first is to import an object called useStore. This is a function that's inside of Vuex, so you have to import that. And from here, the useStore, I'm gonna create a variable called store and call in the useStore function. So this variable, we can use this to access the state in our Vuex. Okay, so from here to our button, like what I said earlier, I want this button to increase our current step, right? So so when you are going to add an event or click event, you can just use @ and then click, type and click, and then add your functionality here. But since what I want to do is to call the function inside of our setup, I'm gonna create the function first. Okay, so from here, const increase step, and from here I'm using the arrow function, and from the store we can just basically use code the store, and then that state, and then what is our current state? The current state is the current step. So we can just copy this just so we're not getting an error. So current step and then ++. And from here, we're going to call in the increase step here. So at click and then increase step. So let's see if this is working. So when I click next step, as you can see, the current step is now on step 2. And basically, if the current step is now on step 2, we need to remove this component and replace the plants info, right? Okay, so that's how we are going to do a simple state management in our component. Okay, so what we need to do, what are the next thing we need to do? Yeah, let's do show the step 2 in our component. So from our multi-step, we need also to import the plans info and then add the import. And when I hit save, of course, our UI is getting messy, but don't worry, we're still gonna fix that. Okay, so current step is step 2. Of course, we need to hide this by doing a VIF statement. So from here on our personal info, I'm gonna use the v-if, and then let's remember again, when calling the state from the HTML, we need to use the $sign and then store state. Okay, so we're going to add a condition to each of our component just to determine if they are need to display when the statement is true or correct, right? So for example here, $sign store dot state dot current step and then equals to 1. So meaning personal info will only show if the current step that we have in the state is 1. But since the current step is step 2, of course, we're only showing this step 2. So I'm gonna try to hit save. So you can see the step 2 is now appearing and the step 1 is hidden. And we can do the same condition to our component right here. Okay, so I'm gonna type in again v-if and then store that state that current step equals to 2, and we can just repeat that in add-ons info. So let's import all the components here until we reach the message. So from here, I'm gonna uncomment everything. So of course, when I hit save, okay, so I got an error. I think I forgot the $sign here. Okay, component. Okay, I just need to refresh. That's kind of weird. I just need to refresh. But yeah, it's still working right here. And since I'm refreshing the components here, I'm gonna use the VIF again to our components, other components. Here, $sign store that state that current step equals to 3. I'm gonna copy so we are not getting too much time on doing this. So summary component should be step 4, and then summary current step is step 5. Okay, so that's it. I'm gonna refresh, and when I click the step 2, let's try. Okay, step 2 is now displaying, but as you can see, when I click on the next step, it's not working, right? The reason why it's not working because the functionality of step 2, which is the plans info, is not applied. As you can see, when we check on the code from the plans info, functionality of next step is not added right here. And also the reason also why our step was refreshed, because we're using form on this, and using form by default is submitting data from the database, and it refresh our page. So that's why when you refresh the page, your current local state is refreshed to default. But don't worry about that. Oops. But don't worry about that. We can fix that later. So from now, what we need to do after we click on the next step, as you can see, we have to proceed on the step 3, step 4. But before that, of course, we're doing the validation of our inputs right here. Okay, so let's do that also. All right, so let's take a look back on the design first before we proceed. So as you can see, as a simple validation of our form, which means if the user try to click on the next step without fully giving the value of all inputs, they will be having a UI like this, and a text that appears, and it says here this field is required, and the input borders are colored red. So we have to do that here, and it makes sense also that the next step will not the step will not proceed on the step 2 if the user didn't do anything, right? Okay, so let's go back. So from our code, here we need to add another text for this. Okay, so I think we can add it right here at the bottom. I'm gonna create a span, and it says this field is required. So yeah, the span is displaying at the bottom of the label. So we need to change the layout of this to something like this, and we need a display flex for that, but we have to separate them in another container. So from here, we can just do form group. Let me check really quick. Okay, so let's go back to our form group. So from here, I'm gonna create a div here, or I'm gonna call the div here because this is the only form that we have here from our another steps. So we can just do display flex, justify content, space between, and then the label, we can just stand it right here. This is still the same as this, and what we need to do is to style the color of the span right here. Okay, so let's go back here. Yeah, I think we can just style it directly because this is just the only span inside of this div. So let's go and then span. Font size will be 14 pixel. Font rate will be bold. Color will be let me check on the variables. We have that color. Yeah, we have that strawberry red. Hit save. Okay, so yeah, also I think we have a special class for this that if the input is empty, we need to give them a class of required. But let me just show this first in a condition. So if the user click on the next step without the value of this isn't recognized, let's do the condition for that. Okay, or we need to get the value of these inputs first and put it on our local state. Okay, so from our index.js, I'm going to create a one whole object for this. So I'm going to give it a name of new user. And inside the new user, I'm going to create form name. So this stands for the name. And the name, I'm going to create two more values for this. One is for name. So if the name is empty, that's it. That's the value of it. And I'm going to create a state. It's called is complete. And I'm going to give it a value of false. So by default, it should be false because the user doesn't type anything, right? So from this, okay, so I'm going to do the first object for now. And from our personal info, we're gonna have the if, and then let's call the store that state that new user. Since we have this new user right here, that form name that is complete. Okay, so as you can see, it's not gonna show, and we will change this to true. So this is complete is true if the user click on the next step. Okay, so for now, let's try to get the value of the input right here. Okay, so I'm gonna close it again so that you can see the whole code. A few more adjustments. Okay. So the next thing that we need to do is to get the value. So as you can see, I did in the first creation of our component that we have a V model right here. So we need to give that value by an event. It's called key down. So let's see, at key down. So when the user is typing, we are going to create a function for that. So let's create a function called is typing, and then let me create that right here. I'm gonna do const is typing equals narrow function. Oops, one bracket only. So since we have an access to store, we can just go in store that state that new user that form name that is complete equals to true. So this is just an example, guys. All right. So oh no, we can just give it a false by default. And for the increase step, we need to put this functionality inside the validation of the form. So again, inside the form, we need to do at submit, and then let's create the function called validate form. there's also a shortcut for the form that browser to refresh after submitting a value, and you can just type in dot prevent. So I'm gonna hit save for this, and let's create the validate form. So this form is gonna validate all of our input if they have a value. Okay, so from here, const validate form equals the narrow function, and I'm gonna create a conditional. So if, okay, so I'm gonna post-end for this because we need first to testing out if the inputs are getting any values, or the key down is working. Okay, so sorry for that. So from here, I'm gonna console.log. We are typing. So save, and let's give some space for this. Okay, so for example, I'm gonna press random key. Okay, all right, so we are typing. That means the key down is working. Okay, so what we need to do is to give the value for our V model. So for this, I'm gonna create fonts name. So that name would be represents this V model. It's equal to computed. This computed is a function from the Vue, wherein any data that we change, he's gonna monitor that and get that value. Okay, so let's import that right here. So computed from Vue. Okay, so hit save. Okay, don't worry about that that error, and we're gonna fix that later. So the first thing that we need to do is to get the default value of the name, right? Since our first input here is name, and on our object we have a name. Okay, so let's do that right here. Okay, so here I'm gonna do an object inside, and I'm gonna type in get, and from here, this is a function that return the store dot state dot new user dot form name dot name. So this is the name, the value of name. Okay, so now we need to get the value of that and set for a new name, since we are typing in on our keyboard, right? So every letter that we get, we're gonna get that and set a new value of that for every additional case that we have. Okay, so let's type in set, and I'm gonna name this new name. So this is an argument. So we'll create a new argument here. Let's call it new name. And then let's proceed on returning the value. So return store dot commit. The first argument will be set name, and the value of that set name will be new name. Okay, so hit save. Okay, all right, so this is still not gonna work, guys, because that name from here that we doesn't have any value. As you can see, the Vuex said unknown mutation type. So we need to proceed on our mutation here and create the definition of that. So let's define that. So from here, as you remember, I created a mutation called setName, and for every mutation that you create, this is all functions. Okay, so here I'm gonna type in setName, and I have two arguments. The first one is the state, and the second one is new name. And this new name is the one that we passed into our argument here, and the personal info. Okay, so let's do the function. So let's change the value of that name into new name. Okay, so let's go and state that new user that form name that name equals new name. Okay, so if we refresh, okay, so we are now eliminating the error. And just to give you the value of that input, let's do it right here. So I'm gonna type in h2 name. The value will be $store that state that form name that name. So hit save. Let me check. Oh, I forgot the new user. And the h2, let's do it the same. Top will be 20 pixels. Oh, let's do 30 pixel or 50 pixel. Okay, so yeah, let's test in typing. All right, so now our input right here is dynamic, and we can do the same functionality in the next three in the next two more input. But before that, we still need to create the validation if the input doesn't have any value. So let's try on the next step. Still working because we don't have a checker if the value doesn't have any if the input doesn't have any value. Going back to personal info, let's do it now, the validation. So from here, I'm gonna create a condition checking if the name doesn't have any value. So we can just do dot exclamation name dot value. So what we're gonna do for this, if name doesn't have any value, this just means if this condition is false. Okay, so we're calling the store again that state that new user. So from our object, it's new user that form name that is complete equals to true. So this just means if this field is empty, we're gonna show this span. Okay, so just to demo with you, so I don't type anything and I click on the next step. Oops, I think we forgot something. let me see. Oh yeah. The state is proceeding, but the state is proceeding, but it's still going to the next step. The reason is we still have this increase step functionality on the next step. So we need to remove that and remove the type button right here. Form is recognizing this as a regular button. Remember guys, if you have a form and you have a button inside, even if you don't add any event on this button, it will recognize this click event into the form. So we can just do the functionality of the next step inside the validate form. Okay, so I hope you get that idea. Yeah, let's go back to the validation. So if this is true, or if the input doesn't have, if name doesn't have a value, we can just simply return. Okay, and the validate form will work once we are clicking on this without any adding an click event. Okay, so I'm gonna refresh for you, and from this I don't type in anything and I click on the next step, and yeah, the span is showing up now. Now the next thing that we need to do is to change the color of this input and turns it to red. So let's go back to our code. In Vue.js, you can also create a dynamic class for your element by condition. So this just means that if a condition met, or if your condition met by creating a setup condition here on your input, the dynamic class that you added before will take effect. Okay, so just to show you, we can add a class here, and I'm gonna give it a class of required. So this required is showing up right here because we give it by default as class of required. And for that, let me just style that right here. So that required border 1 pixel solid bar. Oh no, $sign. You get important. Okay. So this is the style that we are expecting if the input doesn't have any value, right? So from our personal info, we can do a dynamic class by referencing. And I think you are familiar with this when we are doing multiple data to display on component. For example, right here, we are using our reference value. And from that, we can just refer to our store class. I mean, we can just refer our class in our global state, right? So we can just do store dot state dot new user dot form name. Okay, so I'm having a very long code right here. That is complete. So we're going to check if this is true, and then we're gonna add the class required. and then if not, we're gonna add nothing. Okay, so I'm gonna hit save. Let me check on and click on the next step. Okay, it's working now. So we can do the same functionality on another input right here. And so let's do that also. So from here, I'm gonna create the value of email. So I can just copy it right here just to give you a boost. Also right here. So this is an email and phone. Hit save. No need. We need to change the view model right here. So change this to email. And this is for number. I'm gonna hit save. And since we're done with the name, we're gonna create email and new email, and this one phone and new phone. So hit save, and from our index.js, we're just gonna need to create a new object for email and phone. Yeah. So from here, form email, form phone, and this is email, this is phone, right? Okay, so the next thing that we need to add, we also gonna need to pass in new email here and then new phone here. Hit save, and from our mutation, I'm gonna copy this and add a new. Okay, so from here, I'm gonna give set email, set phone, new name, new email, and new phone equals new phone, new email, and this is email since this is the value for email, and this is for phone. I'm gonna hit save. Let me check. We have phone, email, and phone, and the name. So let's try if this is working now. So if I click on the next step, this is the one that requires. So one, email address. Okay, so there's an error because when we are clicking on the email address, the changes are going to the next. All right, guys. So after checking on the code, I got now the issue where the email is still not getting any value because in our email, we're still getting the form name, but not the email. So we need to change this to form email and set this to email, and then here in the phone also need to change this to form phone, and we're gonna hit save, and also I already added the state that we're proceeding to step 2 once all our once our input does have a value. So let's try this. I'm going to type in test@gmail.com. I'm going to click on next step, and it says here this field is required. So I'm going to type some number, and the error is gone. So I'm click on next step, and then we're now on the step 2. And as you can see, the value of email is now stored in our local state. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is the step 2, data. All right, guys. So we are now going to create the functionality of the step 2 component. And before we can do that, let's try to fill up some information right here. So this is the step 2, and let's go back to the UI design. And as you can see here, there's a pre-selected items that the user can see when they are going on the step 2 or the first load of the step 2. And probably if the user is selecting other items, of course, those items are the one that should be highlighted. And I think there's another screen right here. So this is this one. So here, when the user tried to select the yearly billing, there's two more components that I think we need to add in our plan component or plan cards right here. And yeah, so let's we can do that later. So what we need to do first is to create that pre-selected item and let the user also select their own choice of plans and mode of payment, like a monthly or yearly. So yeah, let's focus on that. So let's go back to our code. And as you can see here, I have 2 inputs. Actually, it's 3. It's just loop in a plan list. So each input has a V model of form plan. So this is the one that we need to define later. Also, we have a bill plan, and we have that V model for form bill. Okay, so let's go define first the form plan. So for the form plan, I'm going to create a function const form plan, and it is a computed value. So this is a function which has a 2 object. So let's create a get function and return the value that comes from our store, and that should be store that state that new user that form plan. So as you can see, we don't have any form plan objects at the moment, but we can define that later. Okay, so after get, we need to set that. So this is a new function, and then we need to create a parameter that has a new value, and let's give it a name of new plan. So inside, we will return a new value, store that commit set plan. So this set plan is the one that we need to pass in our index.js. So yeah, set plan, and then the parameter should be the new plan, the value of new plan that we're going to give from our component to our local store. All right, so that's it. And yeah, computed is not defined, so let's input that. Computed. All right, and as you can see, there's error, means cannot read the properties of null. The reason why is we don't have a value of this in our store. So as you can see, it's looking at an object that's not defined in the new user. So let's do that. So from our new user, we need to create an object called form plan. And this object, it has a value that the same like this. And as I told you, this one is the predefined item that the user will see when the step 2 component first loads. Okay, so we can just copy this properties and put it right here. ID 1, plan name arcade, plan price monthly, yearly, then image and input ID. Okay, so the next, okay, I'll try to hit save. Let's see if this thing's going to work when the user is loading the step 2. Okay, so you can see we have a predefined or pre-selected item, and the step 2 is probably a much easier component compared to step 1 because we have a validation for our forms in the step 1. Compared to the step 2, there's a pre-selected items that the computer will give to the user. The user would just, customize their own if they wanted, but even if they don't select anything, it doesn't necessarily stop the operation because there's already a data that set for the user. Okay, I hope you get the idea. Okay, so the next thing that we need to create a function is the monthly and yearly payment. So probably let's add that object right here, and it's called form bill. This form bill is just a boolean value because this is just a checkbox. As you remember, if the checkbox is selected, that is checked, the value will be false. The value will be true, and then if it's unchecked, the value will be false. So let's define this as false, since we want the user to get to load first the monthly. Okay, so I'm gonna hit save here, and for our mutations, let's do that later. Let's go back to the plans info first and define the form bill, which is the V model of our bill plan. So as you can see, form bill. I'm gonna copy this one and create that right here. So cons form bill, this is a computed, and it has an object. So we have a get and then set. So for the get, we will just return store that state that new user that form bill. Yeah, that's form bill. Let me check. yeah, form bill. This is form bill. And then the set will be new form bill. And then return store dot commit. So this meaning we are going to send a new value to our local store, which is item right here. So let me just copy this, and then I'm going to create two parameters. The first one is set form bill, and the second one is the new form bill. Okay, so I'm gonna hit save. Of course, if we check on our component, we don't see any much changes because the same thing is already predefined. Okay, so if I'm going to create the yearly payment, we need to add one more component right here, and of course, the payment of this should be in yearly. And as you can see here in our object, we are already have that. So what we need to do is to create another elements right here that will display. So the first one is, let's create a new span, and the value of that will be the item that plan price. So the plan price, and then let's select the yearly. So this is the one that we will display if the yearly is selected. So as you can see, we have the yearly selected, and then we have one more span that says 2 months free. So let's do that. Span, and then 2 months free. And then let's add the class of span dash promo. And so yeah, let's create a dynamic statement right here that will depends on the billing, if it is set to monthly or yearly. Okay, so let's create v-if, and then let's call on the store that state that new user that form bill if it is selected in months. So we can just create exclamation point right here that should be defined as false. Hit save. Okay, so it's still going to showing on that, but here v-if $store that state that new user that form bill, and then this one $store that state that new user that form bill. Okay, so as you can see, it's now cleared right here. So let's try if it is going to display in yearly. Okay, so it's still not working because we are missing functions here in our mutation. So mutation is the one that will change the state once we are changing the value of our state in our component here. Okay, so this one, we're going to create the function for this in our mutation. Okay, so yeah, let's create that. Set plan. We're going to have two parameters right here. One is for the state, and then new plan. So state that new user that form plan equals new plan. And then for the form bill, set form bill. Let me check if that's the same. Yeah, set form bill. Set plan and set form bill. Okay, so the same thing. We have state new form bill, and let's return the state that new user that form bill equals new form bill. Okay, so hit save, and let's try to see if this is going to work. And as you can see, I'm going to select the Pro, but as you can see, we have already pre-selected the arcade. And if I click yearly, as you can see, we are now getting the monthly, the yearly billing, and it's computed in one equivalent bill of a month and times 12. But I think I forgot something here. Let me check. Yeah, that's they are the same, but the functionality is running really good here. So let me just correct it. So for plan arcade, it should be 9. Let me see, this is 12 for the advanced. The reason why it says 12 minus 2 because we have a 2 months free. So if the user is selected the yearly billing, we have to subtract 2 more months them so that they will have the free 2 months. Also in this one, this is 15. So that's the Pro. Okay, so I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. And what we have here is, I think this one is not displaying correct. So I have a class that set for span promo. Let's check that. So for the span promo, that's in form group radio. That span dash promo, and margin top will be 3 pixel. Display should be block, so it has to pass another line right here, and color will be $ marine blue. Yeah, that's a darker one, I think. Do we have that darker one? Yeah, that's darker one. And the font size will be just a smaller one, 12 pixel. All right, so yeah, that's it. So the next thing that we need to do is to click on the next step so that we can proceed on the step 3. Okay, so how can we do that? let's go to the plans info. Of course, we don't need to add the function right here because this is already covered inside a form, and inside the form we can just add at submit dot prevent, so it will not reloading our page when we are submitting a data. Okay, so I'm gonna create a function called validate form, and I'm gonna copy this. So here at the bottom, it should be the one that will create a function. So it's called validate form. This is a function, and store, we can just call the store state that current step. So current step is step 2. When I click on the next step, it should be going to step 3. So plus plus, and also for go back, it's just an easy one. We need to target this in target this go back and define this as a regular button. So yeah, at click that self, because we need only to target only the go back. Let's create a function called go back. So for the go back, const go back, this is a function. This is just the same thing like this. Store that state that current step minus minus. So I'm gonna hit save. Let's see if this is going to work. Click on the next step. Yeah, we are now on the step 3. So let's reload again and double check if we are correct. So we have predefined values right here. Click on yearly, go back. Okay, working. Next step, working, and the next step is working. So on the next component, we're now creating the functionality for the step 3. Hi guys, so as a continuation, we are now going to create the functionality of the step 3 component. So this is an add-ons, and as you can see, we have multiple checkbox right here that the user can select. And so as you remember, we already created the UI for this. So if ever I select an item, the UI already has a state that it is selected. For example, right here you see that the background is slightly darker than the normal, and when I uncheck, this is the UI are going back to its original state, but the data that we have right here is not yet functioning. So we're going to proceed on that. So let's go back to our code right here. All right, so here, so it's still under the new user object, and what I'm gonna do is to put our browser right here so we can see our code and screen at the same time. So from here, since the last time we have created an object property of form bill, which determines that if true, the payment terms for the payment terms that the user will get is, I think, yearly or monthly. It really depends on the status right here. And since we are now on the pick add-ons or the step 3, we can now create another we're gonna create another object which is called add-ons. So this object is I'm gonna use an array, since as you can see we have multiple items here to be selected. And if we go back to our design, as you can see here, when the user hit on the step 3, they see that there is a pre-selected items for them, but of course they can still customize what they wanted. If they uncheck online service, they can check customizable profile. It really depends on them. But my goal here is to do the same thing. I wanted to highlight the first two item as a default value that the user will see when they proceed on the step 3. Okay, so what we need to do is to create a default state for the add-ons. And the reason why I use an array because we have a multiple items to show here on our browser. And it really makes sense that if you look at each item, look at them as a single object that will handle a state that it is selected, a state that has a name, description, the pricing also, yes, and there's also a pricing for a yearly. Again, that really depends on the form bill if it is true or false. Okay, so I'm gonna create first the first two objects that we have right here, and as you can see, the default value is online service and largest storage. They are pre-selected already. Okay, so if we go back to our HTML file, as you can see, we have already created 3 values that the user can select. And what I want to do here is to just copy the first two objects, since these are the one that I wanted to be on pre-selected. Okay, so I'm just pasting it in right here, so it is inside of this array. Okay, so I'm gonna minimize this too so that we can see the code right here. Okay, so after adding the add-ons right here, I'm gonna create a mutation for this. So it's basically getting the value from our HTML file later right here. So later we will add a few more attributes for this input that determine the value that we can get based on the user. Okay, so here on our store index, I'm gonna create a mutation called set add-ons. So this is a function again, and it will accept 2 arguments, which is number 1 is the state, and the second one is set adds. And from here I'm gonna call the state that new user that add-ons, since we are already adding the add-ons right here, and then equals to set add. Okay, so this set adds is the one that we're going to put on our Vue HTML file. Okay, so yeah, what I'm gonna do first is to all right, so as you can see, we're getting back to the step 1, but don't be confused. It's just the function of the state that when I refresh, when I hit save on our index store index JS, it will refresh all the state from the beginning. Okay, so here on our input, actually I'm gonna start right here. So as you can see, I already created the loop before, so you remember, and I can just reuse what we have right here inside this item. And this item are the one that looping on our add-on list, which is defined here in our script setup. Okay, so the label, I'm gonna add a 4, and since we have already a value for an item, we can just refer that to our item that add code. And then for our input, so this is the one that changing the value. I'm gonna put first the ID, and I'm gonna add a reference, and it's called item that add code. So this is a unique ID for that input. And also I'm gonna use the value, and I'm just gonna add the item, which is the whole object itself. Okay, and then for the V model, I'm gonna create a function called add-ons. So these add-ons, we can define the functionality of that at the bottom. So here, after my add-ons list, I'm gonna create a function called add-ons, and this is a computed value. This is a computed function which will accept get and set. Okay, so let's just go back to our script setup and import a few more items. The computed, of course, import computed from Vue. And then the first one also, I think I forgot one, the store. Import store from Vue store. Okay, I'm gonna hit save. So for the get, we're going to get the first value of our state. So I'm gonna do return store that state that new user that add-ons. So by default, we're returning the selected add-ons that we have on our new user, right? And then set, from the set, I'm gonna create new adds. So this value is the one that changing our old state. Okay, so I'm gonna return, store dot commit, and then I'm gonna have two arguments right here. One is the name of the function that we have to pass on our index.js. So as you can see, here's that one. I'm gonna just copy just to make sure we're not getting an error. And also the second argument is the new adds. All right, so I'm gonna hit save. Okay, so let's see now if we're getting the default value like we have right here. And let's see if this is working already on our browser. Okay, so I'm gonna test in. Next step. All right, so you can see I just click really fast. And as you can see, I have already value for pre-selected value for our add-ons. Okay, just to make sure, I just want to show it to you that the correct value is already setting up. So from our multi-step, I'm gonna add a simple p tag right here. Actually, I'm gonna put them inside the div, maybe, so that we are just displaying separate HTML element. Okay, so here I'm gonna try to call in store that state that new user. Actually, we can just use a v-4 since this is a multiple items. We need to display all of that. Okay, so store that state that new user that add-ons, and then the key will be item in. The key will be item.id, and then we can just pass in item dot add-ons. Okay, I think we can see that. Current step 3. Add-ons. Yeah, that add name. We need to add that add name. Add-ons. Let's see. Oops. Add name. Why is it not working? Item.add name. I think that item.add name is correct. Oh. Add-ons, these are the one that accepting an array of object, and then from here I'm gonna show item.add name, just so we can see, guys, if let me see. Yeah, so you can see here we have already a default value, online service, and then larger storage. So just to confirm if we can see that, so let's see here. I'm gonna testing in some values. I'm gonna type in, I'm gonna selecting the pro, keeping on, and as you can see, guys, if I'm going to remove the larger storage, you can see online services is the only one that active, and if I select customizable profile, larger storage, they are all good. Okay, so this is just a testing. I just want to see if the correct items are really showing for them. Okay, so I'm just gonna comment this right here. Okay, all right, so maybe I just can also close this div because I don't think we need that. Okay, so I'm gonna hit save. All right, so I think also I forgot something. So I think we forgot that if the user selected the yearly billing, of course we will change this monthly to yearly. Okay, so how can we do that? Let's go back to our code, and as you can see here, guys, I have a p tag for the pricing. So what I'm gonna need to do is to create a v if for each p tag. So number one is, let's check if the store that state that new user, let's go back to the original object. So store that state that new user that form build. So we are checking the form build state right here. So I'm gonna copy this. So store that state that new user that form build. Okay, so if this is false, I'm gonna display item that plan price that monthly. Okay, so here I forgot also to add plus. Is that correct? Yes, it is plus. Now if is false, I can just do v if, and I'm just gonna copy this. This is true, right? So I'm just gonna remove this, and then for the second one, we're going to display the yearly, and then this is another plus. Okay, so I'm gonna hit save. Let's see if this is correct. All right, so as you can see, guys, they are changed because I don't think I can go back because our button here is not yet working. So let me just do a testing again. So click on next step. I'm gonna click the yearly, and as you can see, they are all changed. And for the next step, yes, they are all changes. So yeah, that's the function for the step 3. And we need to create the submit function for that because it is still under inside the form. So for our form, I'm gonna add submit and then that prevent. So the equivalent of prevent in vanilla JavaScript is prevent default if you're not familiar, guys. Okay, so I'm gonna create a function called validate step, and for step validation, description, I can just const validate step equals an arrow function, and let's call in the store that state that current step. So if the user is okay, we can just move into summary. So that's the step 4. So I can just do plus plus. I'm gonna hit save, and then I'm also going to create a new 2 more state right here inside of our actually that's outside the new user. So later on I'm going to show you why I need to add this. Okay, so number 1 state is finish, and I'm gonna put in the state of false. So is finish is the one that determine if the user selected on this part. As you can see, guys, we will show this part if the user finish on the third step. And also we need also to create another state for confirmation. Let's say is confirm. So this is the one that will show this thank you message once the user click confirm. Okay, so let's go back to our code, and I'm gonna put in state of false. Okay, so for our add-ons info, I'm gonna put in let's say store that state that is finish equals to true. Let's also don't forget the function for our go back. So from here at click, and then $ store that state that current step minus minus. Okay, so let's see if the function of this is still working. So test number yearly, next step, add new one, go back, monthly. Let's see if the next step is still correct. All right, so it's still correct, right? Okay, so on the next video is we're going to do the summary, or displaying the summary for our transaction. All right, guys, so we're moving on to the summary step or summary component. And as you can see here on the browser, I already created the component for that, if you remember, when we were building the UI. So yeah, so here on the summary, we can just display here the selected items from step 2 to step 3. So if the user selected a monthly, of course, this is the pricing. And for the add-ons, if the user only select 2 items, it will only just display 2 items right here. Also, we have a total of payment that we're getting here at the bottom, and we have an option to go back or confirm. Once the user just click on confirm, of course, we're getting this message component right here. And also, yeah, the function again for this link will going back to step 2. And for the step 2, I think the other things that the user can do is to change also the payment terms from monthly to yearly. Okay, so let's go back to our code, and I have that summary component displayed right here. And first thing that we need to do is to I think we should click the function of this link right here. Okay, so yeah, let's target this one, and that one is called change, has a role of button. And then I'm going to give it going to give it a function of click go step 2. All right, so let's define that here. Go step 2, actually it's const go step 2, and then it is an arrow function. So from here, we can just put our current state. So our current state is in the step 4, and we just need to give it a value of 2. All right. So we have a store again. Dot state dot current step equals 2. Let's see if we already import that. Store from Vue. Okay. And also we need to call in the store that state that is finished equals to false, because we don't have to display the message yet, because I think the user is not yet finished on reviewing this component, right? Okay, so let's hit save for that, and let's see if this is going back to step 2. All right, so now we're getting back to step 2 again, and I'm checking on the yearly payment terms. Click on the next step. I will add the customizable profile and click on the next step. So as you can see, our data right here is still not showing something, because if you remember, we just created the template of our HTML first. Okay, so let's go to the bill, and let's make this as a dynamic. Let's give it a value of dynamic content. So as you can see, I have a monthly, and if you remember, we changed the switch of plan to yearly, right? So we can just do another span right here, and then let's give it a yearly. Yeah, so actually we can do if store $store. Please remember that if we're accessing the global state, we need to use $sign here if we are in the template HTML. Store that state that new user that form bill. Again, if you remember, this form bill has only a value of true or false, right? So here, I'm gonna add an exclamation point to determine if this is false. We need to display this. And then another if. We can just copy this, because this is oops. All right, so we can just remove this, and this means this is true. So I'm gonna return the text here. I think, yeah, arcade. And also this one, we can change the value of this later. So I'm gonna hit save. All right, so you can see the value of this text changed to yearly, because if you remember, if we're going back here, we selected the yearly, right? Okay, so now the text is changed to yearly. And of course, we need also to make this content dynamic. So I can just call in $store that state that new user that form plan. So you remember, we have a form plan. New user store that state form plan, and then the plan name. So we need to display the plan name. So whatever the user selected. we can just display the plan name. So if I hit save, okay, so it says now Pro yearly, because if we go back, this is the plan name of that. If I click on the advanced and next step, this is advanced. And going back again, let's try to do monthly, next step, and then it all changed to monthly. All right. All right, so the next thing that we need to create a function here is the bill price. And for the bill price, we need to display two more type, which is the monthly payment and then the yearly payment. So let's create first the dynamic state for the price. So I'm gonna use if, and I'm gonna type in exclamation point store dot state dot new user dot form bill. So we're checking if the form bill is true or false. So if it's false, like this, and I'm gonna change also the content right here to dynamic, so I can just call in store that state that new user that form plan. So inside the form plan, if we go back to the form plan, then we can select on the plan price, and it varies on the payment terms that we're using. We're using. Okay. So form plan that plan price that monthly. Okay, so we can just copy this and then just remove this one. So this is this true state, and then we can change this to plan price that yearly. Okay, so when I hit save, and as you can see, the data here changes from 9 to 120. And if we go back to step 2, let's change this to monthly. We should expect that the payment will be $12 per month. Okay, so that's correct. Now, the next thing is the services or the add-ons that we have right here. So this is an array. So we need to display multiple items right here. So we need to use a v4. So you remember, if here on our add-ons, we have already pre-selected 2 items right here. So it makes sense that we use v4 to loop that data and create a single value of element for that. Okay, so v4 item in $store that state that new user that add-ons, and then let's give it a key, and I'm gonna reference this to item.id. So the class name is service ads. We already added that. And also for the service name, we can just change this to dynamic item.addName. AddName is the name of the service, right? So if you can go back, AddName. Okay, so this is the AddName. Okay, so I'm gonna hit save. All right, so as you can see here, we just looped the data that we selected right here, and this data comes from the step 3. So the service name or add-ons names are correct, but the value of their prices is not. So we need to change also that. So this time we also need to use an dynamic state for this, because we can receive monthly payment or yearly payment. Okay, so I'm gonna copy, or actually I'm gonna create the state first. So v if, I'm gonna do the same thing again, store that state that new user that form bill, and then I can just call an item that plan price dot monthly, and then I'm gonna copy this and remove this one. So this is for truth value, and then we can just place this as yearly, and then the slash will be YR. So I'm gonna hit save. Okay, so they now change the data correctly. So if I go back to step 2 and change this to yearly, I selected pro and I remove customizable profile, click on the next step, and then we got the selections right here. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is to create the pricing. Create the function for the pricing. So we have a bill total div right here. So we need also to display 2 more span right here. One is per month, and then one is for yearly. Okay, so I think we can do is v if $ store that state that new user that form bill. This is the total per month, and then this is the total per year. Okay, so next is the overall value that we have. So we need to add all of this. If this is a monthly, if this is a yearly, we can change that right here. Okay, so let's go back to our bill total. I'm gonna create again another one, $ store that state that new user that form bill, and then we need to create a dynamic value for this. Okay, so here we're just gonna remove this, gonna hit save. Okay, so I think we have a small error right here. It says /mo, but I think this is yearly. This should be displayed yearly, so YR. So I'm gonna hit save. Yep. All right. So now to make the value of this data dynamic, we can just create a function for this. So let's go on the bottom. I'm gonna create 2 variables actually. One is let total summary of month equals, so this one is I need to collect all the array of the selected months, or actually all the months. So we can just use store that state that new user that add-on. So add-on, since this is the one that we're getting collection, so add-ons, and then we can just use map, then item, we will just return item dot plan price dot monthly. Okay. Next is I'm gonna sum year. So I would just change this to yearly, and then total sum year. So we need to create a function for this, okay? Just so we can create a representation of data for this. Okay, so now const total month equals to total sum month that reduce, and then I'm going to create a function inside. So I have two arguments, a and b. What I need to do is just to return the sum of a plus b. So return a plus b, and then we need to give it the value of 0 from the start. Also for total year, const total year equals total sum year. Same thing, we need to use reduce a and b. So this is inside a function, and I'm gonna return simply a plus b. Okay. So what we need to do here is this is the returning value that we get from the total sum month, and we also need to create another variable to total all of this and what we have in our state. Okay, so hope you get the idea. So I'm going to create const over all month equals to total month plus store that state that new user that form plan that plan price dot monthly. Okay, so we can also create the overall year, const overall year equals, so this variables right here are the one to getting displayed here on our p tag. Okay, so don't get confused, guys. Okay, so total year plus store that state that new user that form plan that plan price that yearly. Okay, so let's see and change the value of this data. I can just do overall month, and this one is overall year. So let's see if this is correct. Okay, so 150 plus $10 plus 20 equals 180. All right, so just to confirm if this is really working, I'm going to click on change. For the pro, I'm going to select monthly. So we're expecting monthly payment. Okay, so I'm selecting pro, going to next step, and then select all. So in the next step, as you can see, 15 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 equals $20 per month. All right, so the functionality of our summary is now completed. So let's get to display the message for the last step. All right, guys. So before we proceed for the message, we need to finish up some functionality of our buttons right here. So let's go in creating the function here for the go back. So here's our button, and I think we need to create a different function for this. So since we need to return back to step 3, so we need to create that. So at click, and then handle return, and then from here on handle return equals to a function, and then we can just do store. Oops, that's state that current step minus minus. So we're just getting going back one step before, and also we need to create we need to call in store that state that is finished to be false. So we're not going to display yet the message because we're not finished. Probably if the user is taking going back, that's the reason we need to call on that. Same thing here with going back to step 2, right? So if you're asking what is this is finished come from, so here we need to create this is finished and is confirmed. Depends on our parent multi-step component right here. So if you can see, we need to change this summary component and then the message. So if we're going back to the finish step, so we need to do is to store that state that is finished. So if this is true, we need to hide this summary component because we're showing the previous component or the step 2. So the reason why we need to state this as false. Okay, so when I hit save, of course it doesn't happen anything, and of course from the message we need to also call store that state that is confirmed. So if confirm state is if the user click on the confirm. All right, so let's try to use the go back functionality. So we expect that if we go back, we're going to show the step 3, and then this summary component should be hide. So click. All right, so it's now working. And next step, okay. And for the confirm, of course, we need to create the function for that. Let's create function const handle message equals to our function store, oops, that state that is confirmed equals to true. And then the is finished should be false because we need to hide this. We only need to display the message itself. So store that state that is finished is false. Okay, so let's go back to click on confirm at click confirm handle message. So when I hit save, of course, if we click the confirm, we're getting the thank you message, and then everything is this is the end of the application basically. So yeah, what we need to do is to create the active state for this steps right here, because we already created the functionality for showing and hiding multi-step component right here on the right side. Okay. Okay, guys, for creating the active state for our step numbers right here, let's just inspect first the design of the active state. So as you can see, the active state has a background of this one. I don't know if I have that color right here. I think this one. All right, so I'm gonna copy this and create the state that will handle the style up like this. Basically, we need to add the active class for that. So since if we're going back to our styles, I mean, let's inspect first. So the dot here is the one that we need to add a class of active. Okay, so I'm gonna create a class of dot dash active, and then so what we need to do is to create the background for that. Let's see if we have that background already on our variables. Yeah, we have this one, the light blue. So I'm gonna $sign light blue, and also the color will be black. See black. Let's see if we have that variable. Yeah, we have that. Also border, we need to change the border 1 pixel solid, same with the color of light blue. Okay, so if you can see here, guys, in the inspect element, I will try to add that class right here just to see you if this is working. Dot dash active. So when I hit enter, so this is the one that I'm talking about. So we have already the active class for that. Now we need to create the dynamic class for our steps. So here, going back, we're passing the step prop object. So this is the child component of our multi-step. And in our multi-step, as you remember, we created an array of step that has an ID, title, and then step title. Okay, so from here we're going to depend on what are the active state. Okay, so for the class, this is the one, and in Vue.js, guys, you can add another class that has a dependency or reference to what we are looking. Okay, it doesn't matter if you have 2 more classes, you can just call in here, right, like this. Okay, so let's create now. So if we're going to check on, we need to call in store that state that current step. If you remember, we have a current step here equals to step prop dot ID, since we are looking for the ID. Where is it? This one in the ID. Okay, I'm gonna hide this sidebar, so I'm gonna hit save right here. So we are checking if the current active or current step is the same as the step prop.id. So if this is true, I'm gonna give the new class of dot dash active. And then if it's not, we can just leave it blank like this. Okay, so I think that's it for now. So I'm gonna hit save. All right, so you can see, guys, we are getting the active class already right here. So step and then dot dash active. So let's try to fill up some dummy information and then click on the next step. And as you can see, if we go back, they're still going fine. So let's try a few more times. Next step and then summary, and then if we click confirm, okay, that's it. So let's remove this for now so that we can clean up our code right here. I think we place it right here. Let's remove this. So I'm gonna hit save. All right, so our app is already completed, but we are missing the responsive part of the application. So in the next video, I will show you how we going to do that. Okay, guys, so before we proceed with our responsive, let's check on what we have on our UI. So as you can see here, the changes in the mobile is just a few. There's a few changes, and as you can see here, from our regular desktop UI, our component right here is now placed outside of the card, and the only thing that we're going to display in the card are the text and the inputs, and also the buttons like the next step, the go back, was also placed outside. And one thing changes also was the step details. As you can see here, we have the titles, and from the mobile it's now only displaying the step number and the active state right here. So from the step 2, I also noticed that the layout that displaying left to right was now placed top to bottom, so they are stacked up. And the same thing happens for the add-ons. I think they are not changed. There's nothing much to change right here. Same with the summary and the message. So yeah, let's proceed to do the responsive. So here from our code, let's go back to the global, and from here I'm gonna create queries.sass, and then this queries I'm gonna link it in the last part of our main. So import /global/queries, gonna hit save. So from here in the media queries, I'm going to create two breakpoints, and as you can see here, I'm going to create a comment that says tablet or smaller screen, and then second comment will be mobile. So from here, I'm gonna create our first breakpoint. So add media screen and max dash width of 860 pixel. And by the way, guys, so these breakpoints are already created by me. So I tested it out before because I think these are the good breakpoints to do the responsive. And as you can see in our UI, we only got two breakpoints right here. The one is for the desktop, and then one is for the regular mobile. But for me, I'm going to create one for a smaller screen like tablet or 1080 pixel below, or 860, yeah, 860. And of course, for the mobile, it's very important because these are the ones that going to access the smaller screen. Okay, so here I'm gonna create media screen and max width of 600 pixel. Okay, so just to give you an idea, guys, this max width will only apply the styles once they reach the maximum width of 860 below, meaning from the width of 860 below, we're going to apply the styles. But if they reach higher than 860, the style will not be applied. So just to give you a demonstration, I'm gonna target the card class that we have, that card, and then let's say I'm gonna change the background to red, just to give you an idea. So here I'm gonna try to do, and from the main.sus. Okay, so yeah, they're all working right here. Okay, and then if I remove this, I'm gonna hit save. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so the first thing that I need to do is to target the card, and here what I need to do is to remove this left side of the container and then put it outside. Okay, so what we can do is to target this class, so the steps-container. Actually, I'm gonna directly doing steps-container, and then I'm gonna use display none. So hit save. Okay, so from our steps-container, what we need to do is to put the width of this to the full width of our card, but we can target the card since this is using grid. So from here, that grid. Okay, so I'm gonna give it a width of 100%, then grid dash template columns 1fr, just to only display one full width. Okay, so I'm gonna hit save. Oops, this is not the grid. I think this is the card. Okay, so now they're displaying like this. And then the next thing, since they are all fixed, what we need to do is to put this form buttons outside. Okay, so yep, let's target the class of form dash buttons, .form-buttons, and then let's put this at the very bottom. So how can we do this? Actually, let's add the background first. So let's see what happened to our form buttons. I don't know what's happening, but I think I really need to refresh the main.sus just to apply the styles. But bear with me, guys. It's still working though. Okay, so we have these form buttons, and what we need to do is to add the height. So height will be 80 pixels, and then width will be 100 VH. And then let's see, view width, by the way. So we're following the width of our container. Okay, so now they're now displayed right here. So let's put top calculator or calculate 100 VH minus 190 pixel. I'm gonna hit save. Okay, so now they're displaying right here. And also let's add a padding of 0 and 15 pixel. So also let's put the left direction to left 50%, and then let's do transform translate x to negative 50%. So I'm gonna hit save. Okay, so now they are displaying outside, and then let's remove the red, and then let's put C white, $C white. Gonna hit save. Okay, what's the next thing that we need to do is to test it out on the next step. So let's see, test. So here on the next step, we need to create or change the new layout of this. So since we have this kind of alignment, so we have to follow this, and that's inside of form group select, I think. So yeah, can target this class. We can target this form group select, which was inside of our card. So from group select, we can do gap of 15 pixel, and then flex direction will be column. Gonna hit save. Save for both. Okay, so they are now stacking top to bottom. And then also we need to add height of our card, because our card is following the specific height, but since we are reaching the smaller screen, I think we need to do is to give it height of auto. So we can just give it right here on the screen below 600 pixel. So from here we can just target that card and then give it a height of auto. So as you can see, it's not gonna work because this is below 600 pixel, but if we try to reach 600 pixel, this is the one that was happening. So since we are now getting here on below 600 pixel, the form group radio, I think we can adjust it here, that form dash group dash radio, then that radio dash UI. Height will be auto, flex direction row, and then gotta give it a width of 100%, and then gap will be 20 pixel. Justify content initial. So let's save. Okay, so now they are displaying right like this. Okay, of course the steps dash container was already displayed none right here. I think we need also to adjust the spacing here inside of our step form details. So this is also inside of our card. So step form dash details, padding will be 10 pixel top and bottom, and then 10 pixel left and right. So I'm gonna hit save. Okay, so they're now they got now a proper spacing from the sides of the card. Okay, so what's next? Also, let's see if we have a problem in the step 3. Okay, so the step 3 is looking good, and then the step 4, the finishing up, is looking good also. And the confirm, of course, the message, I think we need to add a padding. So let's give it a padding here, probably in our 600 pixel below, or maybe we can do already here outside. So from here, padding that message, I think we have a class of message. Yep. Then let's give it a padding of 50 pixel 0. So top and bottom, we need to add a spacing from top to bottom. So I'm gonna hit save. Yep, we have a proper spacing. Actually, for the mobile screens, I think we don't need the 600 pixel below. So from our card, we can just put it our height here at as auto, and then we can remove this because 860 is, I think, good enough to display tablet, smaller screen, and mobile. Okay, so I'm gonna hit save. Okay, so I'm gonna refresh and put another styles. So the one thing that we're missing right here is the background right here. So they are now outside of the class, and as you remember, we are hiding that on our component, which is this one, the steps dash container. They are now displaying none, and what we can do to combat this is to create another component that will show outside once we reach this size of the screen. Okay, so we can do that outside of our multi-step. So here I'm gonna create a new element, and it's called dot steps dash mobile. So inside I'm gonna create a div of steps dash mobile dash container, and we can just reuse the step component that we have before, which is this one. Okay, so yeah, let's import that right here. I'm gonna import steps from that slash components slash steps dot view, and then put it here outside. So steps. Okay, so now we're going to reuse these steps and display it outside of our multi-step. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is to create a mock data for now, because this is the one these steps are multiple, so we need to create a data that displays this. Okay, so I'm gonna copy my old template before, so it will not take too much time. So this is just the same as what we have right here, and I just have that detail right here. Actually, we don't gonna need to the step detail and the step title. We only need the step number. But just to get in future proofing, you need to you need to display this. You can just reuse it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is to populate that step into our data. Okay, so I'm gonna use steps, and then v4 step in steps, which is this one, and I'm gonna use key. I'm gonna referencing the step dot step number. And then we also need to step prop, because we have a props that accepting this. So we can just give the whole object itself, so which is the step. Okay, so I'm gonna hit save. Okay, so I think that's it, guys. And let's see what we have, if they are showing right here. Let me see. Okay, so we have our steps mobile and then steps mobile dash container right here. Okay, so let me check first what's happening on my. Okay, guys, so I think I found the issue why it's not displaying right here. So we have need to update our script right here. So I'm using the updated script setup for Vue. So this is an example of that. So I need to add the setup right here, and then I'm gonna remove this. So there's no need to declare your components right here. It will already access outside. So let's just remove this, and then when I hit save, okay, so we have already the steps that we have one. And then from here, I'm actually just want to display the number. And if I go to inspect this element, there's no way we can remove the word. So what I want to do is to use the ID. So I'm gonna add an ID right here, and then populate this to our component. So step 3 and then step 4. Okay, so we have now the number, and I think what I need to do with this is just to remove this p tag element and then style only the dot. Okay, so from here, just to move fast for our styling, I'm gonna copy the dot here, styling for dot. Okay, so we have the styles for dot, and then also the dot dash active. We're gonna need to copy that right here, and we have that one. And for the dot details, I think we need to hide this from the media queries. So yeah, let's see. Card steps. So from here, steps, and then dot dash details. We're gonna display none. Gonna hit save. Okay, so they're all gone. And let's go back to styling this in the mobile from our queries. Actually, let's start to do the step mobile style. Okay, so since this is for mobile, we only need to do the calling the class for the steps dash mobile. So steps dash mobile, and position will be absolute, top will be 0, left 0, right 0, and width will be 100%. And then the background, I'm gonna use the URL from our assets. So that's dot slash assets slash bg the sidebar dash mobile dot svg. So I'm gonna hit save. Okay, so I think we have an error right here. Let me test if this is going to work. gonna hit save. Okay, so this is background red. Dot slash assets slash images slash bg dash sidebar dash mobile dot svg. I'm gonna hit save. Okay, so yeah, this is now showing up, and what I want to do is to give it a height of 230 pixel, z index -1, because I want this to display behind the card, and then display none. Okay, so we need to hide this for now because this is the default styling, and then once we reach the media queries, and then we can just show it up. But for now I'm gonna comment out this one. So let's complete the styling first, and then do the display none. Okay, so background repeat, no repeat, then background size will be cover. Okay, and then justify content center, then align items will be center. Okay, so I want this circles to be in the center, so I want to use display flex just to see if this is working. Okay, all right, and then inside of this circle, I think I have one more div like this, so I'm gonna style this inside. So here I'm gonna use display flex, so it will lay out from left to right, and then justify content center, align items will be center, and then gap will be 20 pixel. Okay, so they're now placed right here, and I want to reduce some spacing from the top. So from here I'm gonna use transform translate y, so -60 pixels. So I'm gonna hit save. Okay, and then what I want to do next is to put this card from at the top, placing nearly in the step dots like what we have here. Okay, so let's do that. We can do that in our media queries. So from here I'm gonna display none. Okay, so right now we can see it. Okay, and from our media queries, we need to add the steps that's mobile here, and then display flex. Okay, so right now it's working, and oops, and what I want to do to the card is just to move it a little bit right on top. So I'm gonna target that card in our media query. So let's do transform translate y to 100 pixel. Let's see if that's gonna work. Okay, I think also I forgot to add the target for our app, so I'm gonna use the parent class, parent ID, which is an app, because we have the first styling of this like analyze item center. So what I want to do is to put it at the top. So what I can do here is to align items, start. I'm gonna hit save. All right, so yeah, that's the responsive of it. So let's check it out if this is okay with the desktop. So I'm gonna close this, and let's try to run first the filling out of the information. Next step, yearly. Next step, customizable profile. Let's try to go back. Next step, and then I'm going back to change step 2. Next step, and then confirm. Okay, so let's do it again to test on mobile. So here, okay, they're looking good right here. I'm gonna use dummy information again. Okay, the step 2 is working. I'm gonna change to yearly. I want to go back. Let's try to remove one detail. So let's see if the error is still gonna work. Okay, the error is working good. I'm click on the next step, pro. I'm gonna select monthly for now, and then the next step. Okay, step 3 is working. They're all looking good. And then the next step, and then click confirm. Okay, so that's the thank you message, and yeah, that's all of it. So that's how you are going to work with media queries. And as you can see, guys, there's some minor issues like refreshing the CSS. What I mostly normally do when I hit save from any of my file, the main CSS will automatically reflected without saving. I don't know what's the problem, but everything is looking fine and all looking good. All right, guys, so I think that's all of it. If you want to upload your solutions, just go to frontendmentor.io and click on the challenges, or I think you can do my challenges from your account, and then select from your challenges, and then scroll down, and then you can submit your solutions right here. And then you can just fill out some information like the title, the repo URL if you uploaded your code from your GitHub. So make sure your GitHub is connected, because that's the good account that you can connect here on Frontend Mentor. And if it happens that you deployed your app on the live URL, you can just put it right here, and then select from the tools that you use on building this wonderful project. And then from here, you can just write down comments or question that you can ask to the community. And then the community, one really good thing about the community is that they can respond to your question or give any comments or suggestion that will improve your work, so that you can be a better developer on your upcoming projects. So yeah, just click on submit solution, and then wait for someone who recognize your work, like it, or give it a feedback or a comment. So yeah, I hope, guys, you learn a lot from this project. I hope I can give you a good idea on using Vue.js and how the Vuex works. I have a lot of upcoming tutorials in my YouTube channel soon, so stay tuned for my channel. And if my video really helped you a lot, consider subscribe and click on the notification bell so that you will be uploaded on my upcoming tutorial. So yeah, that's all for today, guys. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next video.
Hey kid, don't never let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret.